Back in the 1830s, a man by the name of George Park bought some land around here and decided to make it home.
And George had so many different ideas, and those ideas actually led to the Parkville we love today. To discover Parkville's past, we headed to the archives in the Park University underground.
Preserve, protect, and provide is basically what the archives does. Early Parkville was a slave, hemp, and tobacco market is the language on the sign. I think I'm more of a guardian than a true archivist.
Carolyn took us back to the 1830s when Parkville's founder, George Park, arrived in Platte County.
He thought this was a great place for a town because at the time, the Platte River emptied into the Missouri. Platte County was basically supported by the growing of hemp and tobacco, and that was shipped directly from a little pier down on Main Street down to St. Louis. So he got in on that in the beginning, but he was more of a merchant than a farmer.
He was also a property owner. Park negotiated several land deals.
Buying property uphill in what we know as old downtown Parkville. And he set aside a part of Parkville for a college.
Before we get to the formation of the college in 1875, there's still a lot to cover. Parkville was formally incorporated in 1849. George Park printed the town's first newspaper, the Industrial Luminary, in 1853.
George Park's printing press was most likely around the other side of the hotel building.
But it ended in 1855 when his printing press ended up in the river.
He got upset and wrote an editorial about lawlessness at the polls in Kansas because Missouri pro-slavery people were crossing the river and voting illegally. And as a result, a mob came from Platte City. He was in Kansas at the time, and they took his printing press and all the type and all the equipment, marched it around to the river, and threw it in. Popular opinion was and is that if Park had been here, they probably would have tied him to the press and thrown him in the river with it.
Park survived and turned his attention to education, surprising the townfolk.
By the accounts that I've read, initially they were very suspicious.
That's coming up on Discovering Kansas City in Parkville.